Hey Cabinet friends, it's good to see you all. We're back here in the garden on the hilltop, and I had my outdoor ed Q&A this morning, and it was a lot of fun. It was great to see you students and hear about your outdoor adventures and what you're doing outside, what you're gardening, what you're exploring. And when I was speaking to Azalea Horn, she told me that she likes to grow potatoes. And she's hoping that in her new home, she gets to plant some potatoes, maybe in a bucket or a potato sack, or maybe even in the raised bed or in rows in the ground. There are lots of different ways to grow potatoes. I've never grown potatoes before, but I'm excited to experiment and to try. And I wanted to invite you to join me. I've been watching a few gardening tutorials. I've read up on Farmer's Almanac just to learn what do I need in order to grow successful potatoes. And I also read a resource that says you can use store-bought potatoes and wait until they spud, which happens. Good food rots, good food starts to go bad where we might not want to eat it and it looks kind of funny. But when potatoes spud, it means that they're ready to be planted. Potatoes themselves act not only as food we can eat, but it has seeds. Okay, all plants, all things that we eat came from a seed somewhere. And you can actually visibly see these seeds on potatoes. So join me as we start to begin this potato bucket that I have. It's actually a trash can. So join me as we start. Let's talk about supplies that we're gonna need. So Mr. Tharp got me this big trash bin that we can use. And we're gonna use that. We're also gonna use some potting mix. Potting soil is really good. Potatoes like to breathe. They need a lot of drainage. They also need a lot of sunlight. So this is a full sun spot. And I didn't want it blocking my path of the raised bed. So I wanted to kind of put it in a separate spot. So if you use garden soil, it's too dense. It's not gonna breathe. It's not gonna drain as well as with potting soil. So it's really important that you use the right kind of dirt for the right kind of vegetable. We have some red skin potatoes that I bought these maybe 3-4 weeks ago now, and some of them are starting to spud. And you can see those little eyes there. These will eventually become roots. And several roots from one potato can produce lots of potatoes. It takes about 100 days for a potato crop to flourish and to produce fruit. So I'm hoping between now and 3 months, 90 to 100 days, that I'm gonna have a red skin potato harvest. But we'll just have to try and see. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying this out. I got nothing to lose, nothing to lose. So I'm gonna actually use 3 potatoes like this. And that seems like a pretty large bin, but if I'm hoping to get a lot of potatoes, I wanna have enough space available, width and height. The potatoes are gonna grow up. I mentioned to you that potatoes need a lot of drainage. They need to be watered regularly, just like the rest of your plants. If the soil is dry, it's time to water. But they want to be able to drain out excess water. You don't want your potatoes sitting in a puddle. You don't want them swimming in mud. So Mr. Tharp drilled some holes for me. I have 4 drainage holes on the bottom, and this is a reservoir. This reservoir actually holds water at the bottom. I want it to drain more than that. I don't want any holding place for water. So we went ahead and added 4 holes. I don't know if you can see it. 4 holes on the sides of this trash bin, so that there's plenty of opportunity, and it's about 2 inches away from the bottom here. Maybe 1 inch, maybe 2 inches away from the bottom. I had some brown paper bags from the grocery store when I went recently, so I want to use the opportunity to use them now. And what I did was I opened it up all the way, and I was able to put it in my trash bin, blocking all of the holes. Now again, water will still get through, the soil will stay in, but the water will be able to drain properly and still allow for airflow to come in as well. Over time, this brown bag will break apart and create a compost, and maybe next season I would have to line this again if I do potatoes again. Next, what we want to do is we want to fill this with soil. Now this bin looks pretty big, and I only have 3 potatoes. But what I need to start with is about 6 to 8 inches of potting mix, I'm gonna put that potting soil in, I'm gonna place the potatoes down, and then I'm gonna put about another 2 inches in there. Over time, as the potatoes grow, they're gonna show some green stems that are gonna come up. They're supposed to have leaves on them. And as those get about 6 to 8 inches tall, then I'll put more layers of soil on. So if I want the potatoes to take up this entire bucket, over time, every couple of weeks, I'm gonna need to add another couple inches of potting soil, little by little, in order for this to grow thoroughly. So doing potatoes in layers, it's gonna take some time. However, I'm eager to see what happens if I make it all the way to the top. The more space you give it to grow and the longer it has to grow, you're gonna get potatoes from the bottom, growing all the way in the middle and up to the top. Laid down first initially about 8 inches of potting mix at the bottom. I put in my potatoes, spuds facing up, and then I added an additional 2 to 3 inches of soil on top of that, just to give it enough covering. I want those potatoes in the dark. Now, I'll find out once I water it. If the potatoes are exposed after I water it, I probably need to add more soil. You want to thoroughly water these as often as you water your other plants. I water Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It helps me remember if the soil is dry, I also water. If we've had a rain, I skip a day. So try to get into a pattern of watering, but definitely make sure that these potatoes stay nicely watered, because they're going to drain a lot more quickly than some of your other crops. Well, check in later. I'm hoping to post an update, hopefully in the next 4 weeks or so. I'd love to see something green coming up in a few weeks. So I'll be posting my experiment as I go along. And until next time, go outside and do things.